Hey guys, so we are currently on day like 5,437 of quarantine. Obviously, it's not really that long, but I for real have no idea how long it's been. I think it's day 17. I think it's day 17. I don't even know what today is. Like, is it Monday, Tuesday, Saturday? I don't know. What day is it? Please tell me I'm not alone. If you are stuck in quarantine and you have your whole family home with you, please tell me that it is starting to just blend together and that I'm not alone because I'm feeling a little crazy. But all my kids are still out of school. I have three children, an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And they will be out of school until at least April 24th. So it's been a little insane here. Hopefully, you don't hear the TV coming through the microphone, but I do have one of my kids watching Wish and Poof or something. I don't know. We found it on Amazon, y'all. I have no idea. At this point, it is sort of like whatever. I just don't care. But I just thought I would jump in here. So I just thought that I would come on here and give you guys kind of an update on how life has been now that we've been on quarantine for what feels like forever. And I hope that your little part of the world is maybe starting to kind of come out of the fog and kind of come out of the craziness with all of the COVID-19 closures and quarantines. I know that here we've kind of been, or at least for me, it's been kind of like this roller coaster ride where like one day I'm totally fine, I've got this, and then the next day I'm not okay. I'm like crying, I'm losing my cool with my kids. So it's definitely taken more of an emotional toll on me than I thought that it would. So I just want to kind of say that for anyone else that's kind of feeling the same way, if you're feeling sort of like all the emotions. I just want you to know that you're not alone in that because it certainly has been, I think, an emotional time for a lot of folks. But if you're new here, my name is Jessie Fearon, and I share my family's real life on a budget through my blog at jessiefearon.com and through all of my social media, as well as, of course, here on YouTube. And so I've been kind of sharing, at least on Instagram, a lot of our family's like sort of like journey through this whole quarantine thing. And I just thought that I would kind of come on here and give you a little bit of an update on things. So our March's budget sort of like completely went out the window. We had this like really awesome budget for March made at the very beginning of March, and we had all these goals planned. Like our big goal is to save up cash to be able to purchase land to be able to build a home on it. Our home that we currently live in is 100% paid for. We paid it off in January of 2019. And so we definitely are planning to use this home, the cash of this home, the cash value that we would get when we sell this home, in order to build us, I don't want to say our dream home, but maybe the next home, if you will. My husband is a contractor. He owns his own remodeling company here in our little corner of the world in Woodstock, Georgia. And so he's looking forward to actually doing the building of our next house himself. But all those beautiful dreams we had at the beginning of March are on hold at the moment because with all of these closures and quarantines, my husband's business has been hit pretty hard. A lot of clients have canceled on him, obviously, because many of them have either lost their jobs or temporarily are not able to go to work, or they're in a position where they actually don't have any savings in place. And so they're realizing how important it is to have a savings account. As I think a lot of people are realizing, my family, we are fortunate in the fact that we have our emergency fund. It is fully funded. So we have that safety net built in, and I know a lot of folks don't. But I also know that even though we have that safety net in place, again, we're still kind of on the same emotional roller coaster battle that everybody else is on. And so because of a lot of his clients, a lot of my husband's clients not being in a financially secure position right now or just job uncertainty, they are canceling their jobs that they had. My husband was 6 months booked out, but now it's kind of looking real rocky here for the next few months. So we'll definitely be putting our emergency fund to the test. It's kind of sad in a way of having to put some of these goals and these dreams that we had planned for 2020 on hold. And I'm sure a lot of folks are feeling that way as well, where you had big ideas, big dreams, big aspirations that you wanted to achieve, and now it's like, wow, what's the end of 2020 going to look like, right? Like, we were all just a few months ago celebrating, oh, it's the end of a decade. And, we were ready for the roaring 20s and everything, all the future could bring for the next decade. And I don't think any of us expected this. So, that's a little weird, I know. And so if you are like us, where you've kind of found yourself in this position where a lot of the goals and the dreams and the things that you wanted to achieve for 2020 are all of a sudden just off the table, like you're not going to be able to really work towards those, I want to give you some possible other goals and dreams and things to work towards during this time if you're able. One would be to, if you do not already have a savings account, an emergency fund built up, it would definitely be to make that a priority. Um, and in order to make that happen, that may mean that you have to cut and reduce as many expenses as you can down to absolute bare bones, survival of the fittest type of things in your budget. So, obviously food, but like groceries, not eating out, which obviously most of us aren't able to eat out anyways, just because restaurants are closed. But not ordering the takeout and instead eating from the groceries that you have at your home and making do with the groceries you have at your home, making them last and stretching them. Which I know sometimes that's not as fun. My husband cannot stand leftovers at all. But he is, learning how to eat leftovers, as well as I've had to learn how to get creative with leftovers and make new dishes out of leftovers in order to kind of keep everyone in my family happy and keeping them from realizing that they're actually eating leftovers. It's quite creative, guys. And some ideas for some things that I've done before as far as like creative leftovers. I like to make a slow cooker chicken tortilla soup, which is so, so good. And we, serve it with, of course, cheese, sour cream, cilantro, if we have any of those ingredients, along with like some chips. And it's awesome. Even my kids, all three of my kids will eat it. But then I take the leftovers, and what I do is I actually will just kind of like drain out all of the broth from the chicken and kind of let it like dry a little bit. And then I'll either make chicken quesadillas for the next day for either lunch or for dinner. I'll make even like, sheet pan nachos with like the chicken on top, the shredded cheese and other stuff. And I'll even sometimes toss it on top of the salad, the chicken, and just kind of make like a Southwest style salad. So that's one of the ways that you can repurpose leftovers. So don't be afraid of getting creative in the kitchen, especially during this time. Allow that creativity to flow. I know that cooking is not everyone's forte. I really enjoy cooking. It really fills up my soul, but I also wasn't born knowing how to cook, just like I wasn't born knowing how to budget or manage money, and neither were you. So take this time to kind of learn and hone in some of those skills. You might discover you actually do enjoy cooking and being creative in the kitchen. So those are just some ways that you can get creative in the kitchen to kind of help reduce your budget, especially the food part of your budget, in order to get your expenses down to as minimum as possible. Because getting those expenses down to as low as possible as you possibly can go will be super beneficial to stretching your paycheck or your unemployment if you are affected by the job closures and the quarantines of COVID-19 and you're currently displaced and don't have employment and you are on unemployment. This will help stretch that unemployment check, so then that way you can take some of that money and put it into savings. So this brings up the other question, which is, should I be paying off debt right now or saving money? The answer to that question is hands down saving money. That's not to say that that's not to say don't pay the minimums on your debt. If you are still working and still receiving a paycheck, still keep paying the minimums on your debt. Just shift your focus to saving as much money as possible. If you are in the position where you have lost your job, you're on unemployment, so you're receiving possibly significantly less money than what you were earning before, take advantage of the programs that many of the creditors, utility companies, mortgage landlords are offering, which is deferred payments. Now, keep in mind that some of these programs, especially creditors like mortgages and credit card companies, you may still incur interest during this time of not paying. You're just not going to incur the late fees or anything like that. So just ask the questions, educate yourself, read through everything to figure it out. But don't feel bad for taking advantage of those deferred payments. So then that way, maybe you can take some of that extra money that you would have used to pay on those bills and put it into savings. So then that way you can have at least some form of cushion in place. The other thing you need to make sure that you're doing is that you go through all of your expenses. I've mentioned this before. I have a whole video on tracking your expenses, but you need to cut out anything that is not for survival, which includes your subscription services and things like that. The other thing I want to encourage you is to not give up on your dream during this time. So whatever those goals and those dreams and those desires you had at the beginning of 2020, don't give them up. Yes, maybe some of those goals and dreams have to be put on hold temporarily. Like right now, we are not putting any money towards saving for our land or our retirements right now. We are contributing our normal monthly contribution to our IRAs, but we are not contributing anything more than that. And we had big goals set for our IRAs as well, where we're not working towards those goals at the moment. Same with the land savings. We're not currently working towards that right now. That's not to say that we won't pick those back up in the future, but right now those cannot be a priority, because right now the priority is simply to make sure that the money that my husband has and is still earning from his business can last us and be stretched as far as it can. And we're just kind of putting more and more money into our emergency fund right now versus trying to fund those other goals. But, please do not give up on those dreams or those goals. If your goal has been to start your own business or it's been to save up for a specific thing, don't give up on it. To figure out maybe some small steps that you can take now to get closer towards that. Keeping in mind your current situation, like I said, we're not saving actively towards, that land, the purchase in the future of our land for our future home. We're not working towards that right now, but we are just keeping the money that's in the account that we already had kind of started saving for in there. We're not going to touch that money unless if it's like we absolutely have to, so we're not touching that. We're not going to, take away from the progress that we've already made. And so I want you during this time to just kind of make a list of all the things that you had wanted to do at the beginning of the year. And looking at that list, I want you to figure out, okay, what of these dreams, goals, desires can I actually go after right now? Which ones can I start making small steps towards? If you were wanting to start your own business, or like if you were wanting to say, pay off that last student loan that you have, and even if you are that last student loan that you have, but you're trying to make your paycheck now last as long as possible because maybe you don't have a fully funded emergency fund, maybe there is a way to still make that happen, especially if you're still working. You could sell off some stuff. We actually just posted a whole bunch of stuff onto Facebook Marketplace and sold a bunch of stuff. And we're using that extra cash now. We're just kind of setting it aside into the emergency fund, because right now all we're doing is we're just going to keep throwing money into the emergency fund because we want to make sure for us that it is built up as long as possible, because of my husband's business being in construction and construction getting hit pretty hard every single time the economy takes a dip. And so we're like, all right, we're just going to keep throwing money over there, throwing it in that corner, just kind of keeping it over there, out of sight, out of mind, let it build up. But if your big goal was to pay off that student loan, and maybe it's something you still really, really want to achieve, and you kind of already have at least a good footing when it comes to an emergency fund, go list a whole bunch of stuff on, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, wherever, and try to sell as much stuff as you possibly can during this time. Because believe it or not, people are still buying stuff secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. In fact, many of them are actually doing it more so now than they were before this whole thing happened, because one, a lot of stores are closed. Two, there's a lot of people now that are more concerned about their finances. They're more concerned about making their money last. And because of that, they're more willing to purchase things secondhand than they were before all of this happened. So this is actually a beautiful thing that's kind of come out of the COVID-19 craziness, is that people are willing to buy secondhand. They're willing to buy used. Obviously, if you're selling something used, I would highly recommend that you just go ahead, you clean it all down. That's going to make, one, the pictures of your item look a whole lot better online. And two, that's going to put people at ease a little bit more that it's been cleaned and sanitized. Obviously, they're probably going to do it themselves when they bring it home to sanitize it as well. But at least it gives them more peace and reassurance. And it's going to make selling your item a whole lot easier if it's cleaned, if it's cleaned up and kind of sanitized for them already. But people are more than willing right now to purchase secondhand than they were before. So definitely consider that. Don't give up on your goals just because we're all in this crazy time. We're all locked in our homes. Don't give up on them. Keep going after those goals. Even if all you can do right now is take very small, even micro steps, even if that's all that you can take is micro steps towards those big goals, keep doing it. Keep taking those small steps, because those small steps, no matter how small they are going to add up. And I promise you that working towards your goals now, especially while we're all stuck at home. And so I just want to encourage you to use this time to go after your goals and your dreams. Don't give up on them. There is hope out there. There is. I know that for so many right now, this is a very dark and scary time. And it's a hard time, and I want to say that because I feel like sometimes, a lot of folks come on here and they're like, oh, have hope, there's going to be brighter days, things are going to be wonderful and everything. But then no one talks about the hard part of it, because it is hard. Of course, I don't want to harp on the hard part, because that makes us stay stuck into the negativity. But I think it's important to acknowledge that this is a hard time for all of us, for folks like myself who are not homeschool parents. What we're being asked to do is basically be a substitute teacher. We're not being asked to homeschool our kids, because this is not the same as homeschooling. This digital learning stuff is not the same as actual regular homeschooling. We're being asked to make an entire full typical public school day happen at home now, while parents have to work from home, while parents have other children they have to take care of, while parents still have laundry to do and meals to cook and all these things. And so it could be very, very challenging. Oh, say hi. And so it can be very, very challenging trying to manage all these things and make it all happen. Oh, get your hair out of your face. Your hair is crazy, child. Brush it. Brush your hair. It's a little crazy. No. Yeah, you just want to look like a ragamuffin? Okay. And so it can be hard for a lot of us. I know we're all trying to juggle it. We've never done this before. So make sure you're giving yourself, your kids, your spouse, your parents, whomever, your neighbors, give them all grace. Because we are all trying the best that we can. Take the good with the bad and just stay focused on all of the positive things, which is why I'm telling you that if you had goals and dreams and aspirations at the beginning of 2020, no matter what they were, write them down, list them out, and figure out which ones you can go after today while we're all going through this incredibly crazy, unprecedented time in our lives. And leave me a comment below and let me know what your goal is that you're going to be going after during this quarantine time. I would love to hear it, and I would love to cheer you on and pray for you. So let me know. Say bye.
And hot having chips.
We're having chips and monsters?
I love you.